So plant science is an interesting story because it happened early in my studies. I always liked biology, so I started the curriculum at the university in biology. Then I had, animal and plant biology at the early years, and then I had a very traumatic event in one of the practical work where a professor was decerebrating a frog, to explain, we were looking at the muscles and everything. So he was, removing the nerves with a needle and everything, and then put the frog on the top of the needle and said, it doesn't feel anything anymore. And then I almost passed out, and I said, okay, I don't think I'm made to do anything with animals here. It was confirmed when we did mice. And so I said, probably we'll do plants. Doesn't scream, there is no blood, much better. So that's how I started, I think, in plant science. Then I did all the university studies, and I started to work in a lab a year before my PhD, and that's where I really got the passion about working on plants, because I was working on trees and trying to improve the lignification pathway of trees, and with an idea of improving the paper industry that is less polluting. So I think I have started to find my passion about doing something with plants that serves a purpose for society or environment, that started around the PhD. And genomic really started, so I was doing more molecular biology at the time in my PhD. Then I moved to Switzerland and I started to work on wheat. And there I really started to do genomics by necessity, because there was basically no genomic tools in wheat when I started my work, when I wanted to clone a gene. And it took me 10 years of my life to clone one gene from wheat. And there are 100,000 genes in wheat. So I said, that is not possible to be that inefficient. So we need something better than what I have to work. And so that's where we started to discuss about the wheat genome. And so, that was really the infancy of wheat genomics. It was more advanced in model plants, but in crops, it was not advanced. So I was a kind of a natural evolution from molecular biology to genomics. And that's where I started also to get involved with the women in genomics, because I attended the plant and animal genome meeting when I was a postdoc at the university in Zurich. And that's where I started to click all of that. So Inari, so I joined Inari 2 years ago, and when I look back of what I did before Inari and what I'm doing at Inari, it looks a bit like a natural flow as well of the things I did before. So I spent 20 years in academic research. So I worked, on eucalyptus, and then on wheat, and genetics and genomics. And then after 20 years, I was contacted by a headhunter to ask me if I want to join industry. I never really thought very carefully about, no, that's what I want to do. After some years in academia, I will go to industry. That never was on my radar, but I am somebody that is looking for challenges permanently, and so I had accomplished a few things. I was very happy where I was in academia at Inari in France. I had a great team. There was no reason why I should move. But then suddenly, comes this new challenge, and it's about learning something new. It's about being out of my comfort zone, discovering industry, and maybe I won't like it. And by the way, moving to the US, so another challenge. So all of that, came. Then I spent 5 years at Bayer Crop Science, and where I learned a lot. I mean, that was really for me a great experience, discovering industry and the drivers of industry that I like very much, about working together, towards a specific goal. So there are really a lot of other things in terms of leadership and teamwork and development of people that were really, for me, a great experience at Bayer. And then when I was contacted to join Inari, I saw another opportunity to challenge myself with a startup and starting something from scratch, right? So, and using the two kind of experience I had in deep science in academia, and then more managing science, as a leader of a bigger organization in industry, and then knowing what it takes to make a business out of science, and then conjugating these two things at Inari with also a very visionary project that I tried actually to implement when I was, in my former job, but it's more difficult in large industry to do, very visionary things, because you don't have necessarily the space. So startups are really a good place for that, for trying things that sound crazy. Nobody really believes it's gonna happen, but that's my drive, and that's why I sequence the wheat genome with some other people on the planet. It's because that's what also we heard like 20 years ago. It's like, you are never gonna be able to do that. So that's usually something that attracts me. So that's also the drive that I have to come to work at Inari. So I think my biggest challenge was myself, in fact, as a woman as well, because I think it's something common with women is not feeling confident in our abilities to do things, having a kind of the imposter syndrome. It's like anything that happens to you is a bit by chance because you were here at the right place at the right time. So that was how I thought for a long time. And actually, that was one of the benefits of me entering a professional organization like Bayer, is like having the ability to create more awareness of who I am, what kind of leader I am, why people follow me or not, and so on and so forth. And then admitting for the first time in my life, around 45 years old, that I have some qualities and that things happen to me not by chance, but that I had something to do with it, and that I was good at doing some things. So I think I have met a lot of women along my career that were in the same situation I was, and I'm still working on it. It's being a bit more aware of what you can do and what you can achieve, and not lose your energy to doubt yourself permanently, but rather use your energy to do even better what you can do and serve organizations and people and advance on things. So I would say that is a common thing I have seen with women, but I have never felt because I was a woman I could not be promoted, or I never experienced something like that in my career. That's I felt more that one thing that was good is having people that pushed me at some moments, because these moments of doubt I had. I mean, I am qualified to do the job, which is a question that women ask themselves all the time, and that's often a barrier. There are many people in the organization I was in France. You had about the same number of men and women at a certain level of professional development, and then when it came higher, suddenly you had 20% of women, and then you ask, okay, is there something that women are not encouraged? And no, it's because women don't think they are qualified to go to this level. They don't even apply for it. So to me, that was also make me think about that. We have a problem probably with ourselves and our confidence. So it was good for me to have people that sometimes kick me a little bit and say, oh, you can do that. Starting with my PhD supervisor, who was a woman, so I was her first PhD student. She got pregnant like 6 months after I started my PhD, and so she was between, the baby and the work, and me trying to find out as well, how to work without a supervisor for a moment. But that was a great thing. I mean, we became really good friends, and we still are regularly in touch with each other. I'm the tutor of her kids. So I mean, that was. But she told me at the end of my PhD, you will succeed and you will do great things. And I had no clue what she was talking about. So it's probably not talking about me. She just said that to be nice to me, but she somehow gave me this first pulse, and then I met other people along my life. I mean, Kelly was leading, the women in genomics. Well, she picked me out a bit of the crowd, when we were at the first meeting of the with genomic sequencing consortium, and then again I thought, why is she asking me to be part of these things? Probably because I'm taking good notes, right? And then Kelly obviously saw other things that also I discovered later on, but that giving me a chance and offering me opportunities, that has been important for me. And when I had decisions to take, am I qualified, or having people say, come on, yes, do it, and take the risk, that was important. Yes, so I did. So actually, I started to do kind of. I think I mentored women in an informal way, early in my career. But then I think when I joined Bayer, and then I understood what mentorship is about, and that you can really help and impact other people. I really embraced it and did some more professional mentoring, and I really enjoyed it, because one of the things I really like is being able to transmit something and to help people grow. So helping people and organization grow is a big driver in my life. So mentoring is an absolutely fantastic opportunity to do that, you know. And so whatever you do, but to mentor, you have to admit that you can bring something to somebody, right? That you can help others. And so it comes with the awareness and being a bit more confident that, yeah, you can bring things to people. And then mentoring is a two-way street. You know, I have learned a lot from the people I have mentored as well, because everybody has different things they want to develop in. So this is an opportunity to learn, which is also very important for me, is learning all the time. So I would recommend mentorship, you know, being mentored and being a mentor to anybody, because I think it's a great experience to go. So I'm since a long time now, I consider myself as a manager more than a scientist. So I think I stopped being, at least being a scientist at the bench, when I moved out of Switzerland. So let's say after 10 years after my postdoc, so when I become, you know, a group leader at Inari in France. So I didn't do any experiments myself anymore. And frankly, I was not sure I would survive that, because you would have asked me, I say, oh my God, I want to pipette all my life long. I mean, I don't want to be a manager, it's horrible. But I realized that I have a lot of fun doing that. First of all, because it helps people grow and organization to grow, and groups, which is something that really I like to do. And second, because there is a lot of creativity to have to put people and projects together. So the thing I enjoyed as a scientist of, you know, imagining an experiment, trying, you know, and developing things, well, there is an element of that when you are putting projects together. So I had the opportunity to put a European project together, and then with the Wheat Genome Sequencing Consortium, that was a bigger project. And so working with a lot of different people, having to plan, having to bring people together, having to resolve issues between people. So a lot, you know, of experience going through that. So for me, that was, I started to enjoy actually managing, you know, and leading, and then understanding the difference between being a manager and being between a leader, which really was, you know, big time at Bayer. So at Bayer, I had an organization of about 300 people. So it became bigger, and then, but I enjoyed it because I learned other aspects of interacting with other departments, and how do you bring your things, and how do you stay creative in imagining how your department should evolve, how you serve an organization. And so every time it was different dimension. The Wheat Genome Sequencing Consortium was an absolutely fantastic adventure for that as well, you know, to learn how to work and work with others. So to me, I enjoyed very much doing that, and that's what I continue to do at Inari. So I'm so-called chief scientific officer, you know, which is basically, I lead the science organization. So there are about 60 scientists there. And so the idea for me is providing a framework where people can excel, because they are really great scientists. They are very smart cookies, you know. And so for me, I mean, they are better than me in many aspects of the science. But what I can do is providing them guidance, a framework, a culture where they can excel and they can express all their potential. And doing that together, you know, in multidisciplinary teams. So for the first time in my career, I really have multidisciplinary people. I have people that comes from physics, from the medical world, from plant genetics. And so having the capacity to bring all these people together to advance new ideas and push the frontiers, this is an absolute fantastic journey for me. So every day I'm doing that. So, you know, more managing that, and then managing people, issues between people, making things more efficient, you know, looking at resources, looking, so all of that, that's my daily life. So it's not the first time I have this question, so I thought about it. No, but it's more because I would say, you know, maybe before I would have said, well, follow your passion, but I think the thing for me is be open-minded and ready for opportunities, you know, and then take a risk every time, because it's extremely rare that you will have something that is perfectly what you want, when you want it, where you want it. So there will be always a trade-off of something. And so it's like, you know, and then knowing when is the right moment to do things, because I had other opportunities earlier in my life to work for industry or apply for other positions, and I was not taken, and there was a reason why, and I didn't understand it necessarily at the time, and I was frustrated, you know. but it's because I was also not ready and not, not qualified. But it was a good experience to try, take the risk and fail. So not being afraid to fail is a very important feature, I think. It's like, don't go for where it looks always easy and cozy, and because then you will have, in my opinion, a much less rich experience. Than try to take a risk, and if you fail, it's okay. You learn, so you learn and you progress. So every time I had to make a big change, I looked at that, and usually when I had a 50-50, like 50, I more or less know what I will do. 50% of it, I have absolutely no clue what I will do and how it's going to go, and it scares me. That's usually the right moment to move.